For the past 50 years, BOSS has been the go-to pedal manufacturer for a lot of musicians, but this time, they've really screwed up. Introducing the BOSS PX1 Plugout FX Pedal, a multi-effects pedal that looks very similar to other BOSS pedals you're probably familiar with, but this pedal can take microtransactions. Okay, the premise is actually pretty cool. I'm typically a bit mixed on pedals like this, mainly because of how much they cost when you can still only use one effect at a time, but the Plugout has a pretty straightforward layout and can emulate several classic BOSS pedals. The difference between this and something like the HX1 to me is that the HX1 is sort of a do-it-all effect pedal with algorithms from their Helix units, but the BOSS pedal looks like a BOSS pedal and in theory can sound like classic BOSS pedals, so if you've had something like a DD2 digital delay, this could take its place and be other pedals as well. But there is a huge problem with the PX1. Do you remember when Waves announced that they were going to move all of their plugins to a subscription-only model? Well, they seemed to learn from their mistake pretty quickly, but unfortunately, BOSS did not learn anything from the Waves controversy. While you do have access to 8 BOSS effects right out of the box and 8 more that can be downloaded from the app, any other models that you want to add can be purchased for $10 each in the form of a model pass, which is just what they're calling the license you purchase for each individual model. And this is all somehow connected to your Rolling Cloud account. I've seen people freak out about the word license here, but a lot of people are getting this wrong. Purchasing a license for one of these models is essentially the same as buying a song on iTunes back in the day. You weren't buying the song itself, you were purchasing a license to listen to that song. So you're buying a license to use each individual model, and that's not anything new in the grand scheme of things. But the problem is that you're paying $250 for the physical pedal, and let's say you want to make use of the other pedals they release for it. 5 additional models will bring the total cost of the pedal to $300, which, by the way, is the price of the Line 6 HX1, which has most, if not all, of these models, plus many, many more for no additional cost. And Line 6 continues to add effects to these products with firmware updates, again, for no additional cost. By the way, if you're getting anything out of this video, consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more videos like this. But there's another glaring issue that I have with the BOSS PX1. When it comes to plugins or add-ons that I've bought for music production, I run into issues verifying the fact that I've already purchased the license to use that plugin or whatever it is. So what happens if you run into this problem with the PX1? Well, in demo mode, you have a gap in audio every 30 seconds, which I think is a great way to demo the different models before you actually decide to purchase them. Not a big deal. But anytime these companies are selling add-ons, they're pretty clever about making sure that people can't use them without purchasing. And most of the time when this happens, it'll just pull up the demo mode, which is what I assume would happen here. That's more of a concern that I have personally, but we don't really know if it's a legitimate problem until it actually happens to people. Imagine trying to gig with this thing and you get logged out of the app on your phone, so your pedal just resorts to demo mode. Again, it could be rock solid, but if not, I can't see why someone would spend this kind of money on it. And that's not even to mention the possibility of a subscription model for the additional effects, which I think would be even more difficult for them to manage, but I think it's always a possibility. And this is not far from that in my opinion. But why am I even concerned with this? I have a Helix for live and studio use, and that does everything I need it to and more. The reason I'm making this video isn't because I think we need to go cancel BOSS, and I'm not trying to sell you on the HX1, though if you are interested in checking it out, I do have some Zounds links in the description, and that is a great way to support this channel. But in all seriousness, I think the BOSS Plugout has major implications for the industry as a whole, and that does concern me a bit. If this does well, or even if it does all right, other companies will likely attempt to adapt this model into their hardware, and I would venture to say that collectively, we do not want that. I don't know that BOSS would do anything at this point to change their plan for the model pass, but I do think that if we're vocal about it now, it can be extra clear for BOSS and other companies to not go this route in the future. And if this pedal ends up being a flop financially, that will speak louder than words to these companies who, like it or not, are searching for new and better ways to make money. But here's what caught me by surprise. Despite all of the backlash Boss is receiving over the PX1, there's a surprising amount of everyday consumers who are excited for this pedal, and many who purchased it on day one of its release. So maybe I have this all wrong. I've been so busy focusing on the reasons this pedal is a bad idea, but I haven't thought much about why, despite its flaws, people will still purchase this pedal for $250. And once I did, it all came down to one word: brand. Boss has been developing its brand for the past 50 years, and essentially what that means is that for every satisfied Boss customer, whether it be a brand new guitarist or a seasoned pro, that contributes to the brand's reputation, which brings value to the brand itself. So why would someone buy this despite the controversy? If you're specifically a fan of Boss pedals, like a super fan, for $250, you can get a pedal that can morph between 16 classic Boss pedals, and I could see that being appealing. I could also see those people going, hey, I can get more pedals for just 10 bucks each. That's awesome. That being said, I'm not even trying to say that nobody should buy this pedal. There will be people who find value in this, and I figure there will be lots of people who use it and are happy with it, and that's awesome. This is all one man's opinion, though I think a lot of people online have similar opinions at the moment. I've owned several Boss pedals, and I like them because they're built well, sound good, and are very straightforward with their typical 3-knob layout. I just think this was a cool concept with a poor execution. But I want this to be an open discussion in the comments. So if you think I'm wrong, I want to hear you out. And if you agree with anything that I said or have some other perspectives, I'd love to hear those as well. After that, you should check out this video right here. And as always, thanks for hanging out.